Episode 100 of Inside the Mind. I mean, to hit the three digits is pretty special, and I'm privileged to be joined by Marco Bustos. And man, I'm pumped for this one because not only from admiring your kind of mental approach to the game and just your player in the field, but I mean, technically, I can't think of many players in Canada that have a better left foot than you. So I'm privileged to talk to you, man. I'm huge fan of your game. Huge fan of your game. That left
Appreciate that.
that left foot, is that something that kind of came naturally to you or something that you had to work on throughout your career?
No, I mean, anyone who knows me well knows that I'm very, very dominantly left-footed. A lot of people say my right foot's just for getting on the bus or hopping into the car,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that sort of came natural. A lot of people, a lot of left footers will say that, left footers are like strictly left foot, which is, with a lot of right footers, a lot of them can use both feet fairly well. But I've yet to meet anyone who is dominant left footed that can still use their right foot decent.
Interesting.
We're not even like at the decent level with the right foot.
So if you're left
But
foot,
there's always,
I was gonna say if you're
yeah,
left
if you're
foot,
left foot,
you're committed to it then for life.
yeah, 100%.
That's interesting
100% for
because I
life.
mean I'm right footed, but I can't use my left foot to save my life. But I also I
But fair enough,
yeah.
but like there's a lot more cases where you see that right footers can use their left foot.
Right.
But left footers, like I said, I've yet to meet any left footer that can use their right foot.
Are there any, I guess, mental challenges that come in your head, kind of overthinking things with kind of being so left foot dominant? Is that something that mentally you have to kind of work out in your head?
I think it's kind of the opposite. I think being so dominantly left footed, I think, coming from a defender's approach, I think, a lot of defenders are used to going against right footers. The majority of players that play football are right footed. So when it's a left footer, you have to change your angle a little bit. But I already know that everyone knows I'm going to go left.
Right.
But it's a specific way that I can dribble the ball and sort of manipulate the movement that I can still get to my left, which comes again fairly naturally. It's not something it's not like a move I've practiced, over and over and over, a specific move like a step over or something. I think just over time, going so many times, I know my distance to the defender that I need to get the timing off, so he can't poke the ball away and just kind of stuff like that. So to me, my coaches always say, we got to work on your right foot, which is fair. I know I got to work on my right foot, and I'm slowly still getting there.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for 6-7 years now, but it's a process, but now, it's about, in training now I can start to use my left foot more or my right foot more. But, when it comes to a game situation, when you're in a game, you always want to go to where you feel most comfortable, and that's to the left. Right. So now it's about taking my right foot into a game and maybe doing a step over with my left and going to my right and having a shot with my right foot. It's just trying to mix it up now, because a lot of defenders at the highest level, if they watch film and know that I go to my left all the time, it's not going to be an easy day for me.
Yeah.
So I guess in that aspect mentally, you have to prepare in that sense.
And I got to imagine too, it's a mental challenge. I think it's one thing to practice your right foot in practice and training because the stakes are a lot lower. But in the game, I mean, to commit yourself to using maybe a less dominant foot, or in other sports, a less dominant hand, but just using that less dominant side of your body, it's got to be such a huge mental challenge, I imagine, because the stakes are so much higher, where the mistake that you could potentially make could hurt your team in the overall grand landscape of the game.
That's just it. But if you don't take the chance, then, this is nothing, you're never going to improve.
Right.
So that's the way, I've looked at it. My coaches told me, take it with your right foot. If you miss a chance, open net with your right foot, who cares? then do it again next time, or go with your left next time. But at least now the defender knows, okay, this guy, he's worked on his right foot. He can go both ways here. So I can't commit him one way, because then he'll just burn me on the right, and then he'll score him with his right. So I think once I can get that, I think it takes a lot of personality to be able to be two-footed. Mm-hmm. For no means I'm saying I'm going to be as good with my right as I am with my left, but I think bringing it to a game standpoint is a lot different than trying to do it in training.
For sure. And I got to imagine, I mean, you mentioned there that the kind of the coaches and the confidence they have in you to try out those things. I mean, I think that plays such an important role. And just thinking, I mean, I think there's a lot of coaches out there that don't want their players to take that risk because they become so focused on the result of the game and maybe lose sight sometimes of developing their players, both physically, technically, and mentally.
Oh, 100%. But I had this actually conversation the other day with my coach. He had told me, like, just kind of talking, what is it that I need to do to get to the next level? Because I know he knows, and people around in my close bubble know that, I can take my level 3-4 more steps up, and you have to believe in that. And I believe in it, but now it's, what's the platform to get to that level? And he is telling me, right foot is very important. Mm-hmm. Like I was just saying prior, that if I can take a defender one-on-one and I am able to shift both ways, what's the defender going to think now?
Right.
And he's got to kind of step back and say, wow, this guy can take me left or right. And then you leave him you're living in a mind space in his head where he really doesn't know what he's going to do. And that's the advantage of the attacking player. So he had said to me, with his, because he's good with both feet. He used to be a center back, my coach. And he said when he was younger, working on his left foot, he would go into training and just use his left foot in practice, just his left with everything. And that was something that he kind of challenged me to do, come into training, maybe one day every 2 weeks, you come in, maybe on one of the lighter days, you say, all right, today's going to be, I'm going to try and do all right foot purposely. And then that's how you build a different confidence with your, in my case, it's my right foot. Mm-hmm. So if I can come to training one day every 2 weeks, a bit on a lighter day, and just use my right foot repetitively over time, it's going to become a habit and it's going to get better, obviously.
For sure.
So I think that's something that I will try to instill in my training habits and see where that takes me. Because obviously it worked for him, and it might not work for me, but you don't know unless you try.
That's exactly, you took the words right out of my mouth. You don't know until you try. That applies to all aspects of sports. Like, you honestly don't know.
Not even sports, everything.
Yeah.
You don't know until you try.
Exactly. And that's one of the most beautiful things from the time I've had interviewing athletes, pro athletes like yourself, is I come here with the mindset of talking about sports psychology and how the mental side of sports, how that affects the development of a player. But I mean, every conversation inevitably leads to the conversation of how it's just the mental side of life, and sports is just one aspect of life. And the things you work on in sports bleed into life, and the things you work on in life bleed into sports. I think it's just that whole makeup of a person and the mental approach and just how important it is. And like you said, you don't know until you take a shot.
You're 100% correct, in my opinion.
Yeah. You mentioned kind of working with your coach and kind of setting up some things that you're going to work on to reach the next level. Is there anything mentally that you've kind of started to hone in on, to work on when it comes to your game, whether it's like confidence, pre-match anxiety, dealing with failure, whatever it is? Is there something mentally that you're really focusing on right now?
I don't think something I'm focusing on in the moment. I think for me, going into, because a lot of players or a lot of athletes will have, a game day ritual, and some people have a lot of superstitions, to each their own. But I'm a guy that's, my mentality is, from Sunday to Saturday, I know I've done everything right to lead up to a game or to a training session. To me, a game on Saturday is the same as going into practice on Tuesday. I come into practice, I train with the intensity that I play. I kind of thrive off, you know, having that mentality, you know, to work as hard as I can today to be better tomorrow. You know, I'm a guy that you know, I think I can reach the next level by going out there and training to actually, like, you know, the intensity of a game, which not everyone can do.
That's tough, man.
And I think, yeah, it's not easy, 100%. And it's taken time, but that's kind of what I've built to is, you know, train the way I play, you know, come out of training, like, you know, that I come home and I'm like, I'm done, I'm finished, you know, and that's the mentality that I'm trying to have. And that's what I believe will help me get to the next level. And, you know, a lot of people ask me this, and it goes back to that game day ritual. And what I was just kind of topping on was, you know, Sunday through Saturday, I do the same thing all the time. You know, to me, it's, you know, I go to training, go to the gym, I eat well, I sleep well, and I try to keep those habits. So come Saturday game time, I don't have to change anything. You know, to me, it's just about if I can prepare relatively the same every day at a high level, then come Saturday, I don't need to change anything to make me feel like I need to be better on that Saturday. Why can't you be just as good on Monday than you are on Saturday? And, you know, there's different opinions to it. You know, everyone has a different way they lead up to a game. But I think, in my opinion, you know, especially in an athlete's world of performance, you know, every athlete's got to do what they think they need to do to perform on game day. And for me, it's like I said, you know, every day I show up with the same mentality, the same day rituals, you know, like I said, eating healthy, nutrition, going to bed at the right time, doing all my gym stuff, putting 100% into training. And then come game, I'm ready to go, because I prepared the week before or the week of. I've prepared. I know that I've done well. I know that I've done everything to perform on Saturday. And that's what gives me that inner confidence to perform.
Yeah. Your body, you built your body up throughout the week to take whatever stuff's thrown at you.
Whatever is coming at you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of, you know, the strength coaches here and physios and even coaches, they say, Marco, you need to take it easy. You know, you're going too hard. I look at them and laugh, because you're not in my body, right? I know what I need, and that's for me to work as hard as I can every day. And, you know, here and there, you obviously take days off. Like today was my day off. I had a nice spa.
Right.
But I'm after it all the time. You know, everyone who knows me well will say, well, first thing they'll say is, oh, this guy needs to take a day off one day.
But man, it's hard to take that day off, because as a professional athlete, I have this kind of mindset too. I'm not even a professional athlete or anything close to professional athlete, but if I take a day off from something, that in my head, I'm thinking somebody out there is not taking this day off and they're getting ahead of me. So that's kind of what keeps my drive going, is I don't want somebody else to beat me at whatever I'm doing. For example, this podcast, whether it's like online marketing or producing content or interviewing athletes, I feel like if I take one day off, there's another guy out there with his podcast that is doing more work than I am, and I can't live with that. So that's kind of I feel like there's some similarities there, where it's hard to take that day off when you love what you do so much and you're so competitive naturally.
Oh, 100%. And obviously you know, there's come those days where, you know, your body's screaming for a day off and you have to listen to your body, in my case. But I prefer to go 100 every day.
Yeah.
If I could train 7 days a week on the field in the gym, I would.
Yeah. And man, I love it too how you mentioned how these are habits for you, because I see always online the debates of like, or people just voicing their opinions, that it's not about motivation to be a successful person, for example. It's about habits, because your motivation, like you said, like there's days where your motivation is really high and everything's super easy, and there's days where the motivation could be lower for whatever reason it is. But if what you need to do to succeed is a habit and it's ingrained in you, it's just like second nature for you. It's automatic. And that's, I think, where the success comes.
100%. It's like you said, that keyword is automatic. You know, speaking about motivation, you know, there's a lot of motivated people out there. If I ask, for example, if you ask me, do you want to play for Barcelona one day? Of course, that would a huge motivation if I had that opportunity to do so. It would be huge. Everyone is motivated by, you ask a group of kids, soccer kids, oh, how many do you want to be professionals? They'll all put their hand up. But then that's the part of motivation. But then it's, if you can create these good habits for yourself, like you said, motivation is one part. But if you can create these good habits and find the ones that work, because not all habits work. I've had to change things throughout the years that I thought was going to be beneficial for me, but in the end, I didn't find anything from it. So I've learned my body over the last, 3 years, and still trying to learn. But if you can create these habits, and those are the habits that instill a different kind of nature in yourself. For me, my habit was, it all started with a little story too. This is all over. A lot of media people know this one already, but my coach now, we used to play together in the Whitecaps, and he was a bit of a mentor of mine. But he was, he did give me a lot of constructive criticism, which was his way of trying to help me. He wanted to see me grow and blossom and at the Whitecaps. But that was it was a time when you're young and you think you know it all kind of day.
We've all been there.
And yeah, exactly. So I was growing up. I know I had talent, but one thing I think I faulted was not working as hard as I could have. And one day my coach, his name's Pamaduka. At the time, he's my teammate, and he goes to me, you're a kid, you have lots of talent, but you don't look like a professional athlete. Look at you, you have no muscle. So he called me fat, all this stuff, and I took it to heart. And he had made me a bet, and this would have been in 2016, maybe. He made me a bet. He goes, this was at the end of the season. He goes, if you come back, I bet you I'm going to come back fitter than you. And after the off season to preseason, I'm going to beat you in the yo-yo test. And I'll bet you $200. He said, and to me at the time, $200. Wow. I'm going to take this guy's $200 easy.
Right.
And his way of trying to motivate me at the time was, if I can throw a little bit of money at this kid, maybe he'll smell the coffee and he'll realize what he needs to do to grow this habit and be a good professional, trying to eat right, sleep right, train harder. So I went into off season, and MLS off season at the time was, about 2.5 months. And in the two and a half months, I think I went to the gym every single day. I missed one day, which was Christmas Day.
Wow.
I took a day off, and I came back and I crushed everyone in the yo-yo test. Everyone looked at me, they were like, wow, like this is such an amazing change. And for me to see that, and, to see it in myself, looking in the mirror, wow, I changed that much. But then for other people to recognize it was really a testament to the hard work I'd put in. And looking at the hard work that I put in, that was a big factor in keeping that a habit. So I continued to eat well, not just because I came in, I won that $200. And by the way, he still hadn't paid me that $200 till this day. But to come in and feel that change, why not try to continue it and see, this is a good habit anyway. Why not?
Yeah. And
till this day, I'm still on the same regimen. I'm eating the right foods, training in the gym 3-4 times a week, doing everything I can to stay fit. I think, being a smaller guy, smaller player, I think mentally you have to prepare yourself you can only prepare yourself so much physically as well. And then it comes down to, having that extra confidence, and that comes from me being, knowing back to, the weekly regimen, doing all I can and to perform at the highest level that I can perform at. It comes back to that. When I know, or that I'm feeling good, I'm looking good, all that grows and becomes a big confidence booster.
For sure.
And for me, it's just trying to live a confident life, in my opinion. And that leads to the pitch.
Man, 100%. And man, the one thing that stuck out from that, just kind of when you were describing after that off season, you came back so fit and everyone noticing it kind of reminded me, like, as humans, we're so driven by behavior and the behavior of others, that you had this behavior that you had, which was going to the gym and getting fit, and you had so much positive reinforcement because of it. Not only like positive reinforcement in terms of your play on the pitch and just being a better player, better athlete, but just the positive reinforcement of other people hyping you up and noticing you, right?
And any player in any sport, if they tell you that, positive reinforcement from people doesn't matter to me, or doesn't affect me in any way, I think is a lie, because you don't have to get pats on the back every day. You don't have to feel the love every day. But when someone comes and gives you recognition, wow, you did this well, or it's nice to hear that.
Yeah.
Because being an athlete sometimes can be lonely, can be tough. It can lead to depression. I've been through some tough times for sure in my career, but when you feel you've done something right, it's nice for other people to recognize that.
Man, that's why my first advice to anybody that wants to like develop habits is to seek out the reinforcement that you're going to get when you complete the habits. Whether it's something you give yourself, something somebody else gives you. I mean, like for me, for example, I have a bunch of like to-do list apps and like habit tracking apps. And for me to see like the check mark for a whole week, for example, that I stretched every day, or a whole week that I went to the gym, like that's my reinforcement. That works for me. My always first piece of advice I give to people is put aside something that's going to be that reinforcement for you. That's going to be that motivation to get that habit off the ground. Eventually you won't need that reinforcement because it'll just be so ingrained in you, but just the power of reinforcement, the power of us as behaviors.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. And that's what changed, that's what changed my career, in my opinion.
Wow. What do you mean by that? Just like the positive reinforcement that you got?
Yeah. Just, changing something that actually had a big change in my life and my career, that changed to something that was so positive, and knowing that it was working. In that aspect, I say that that changed my career. Just someone's telling me that, someone trying to make a bet with me just so I see the bigger picture, and then actually from seeing it from hindsight, months later, you look back and think, wow, I was that small-minded that I didn't see the bigger picture in that.
Yeah.
Before, before that, I had to do all the work to see the big picture.
For sure.
I was like training hard, literally to win this $200. I wasn't training hard to be better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then looking at it after, I was like, wow, $200 was my motivation.
Yeah.
Now if I think bigger, I want to get, it's no secret that I want to get to a higher level. I want to get myself back into MLS or into Europe. Then what is it that I need to do? And I know what I need to do. That's just sticking to the process that I'm in right now. It's a mental challenge, to wake up every day and be motivated. Like you said, some days you wake up and things are easy. Some days you wake up and, it's tougher to get out of bed. It's whatever challenge is thrown at you. It's you're having a rough warm up to your session or whatever it is. But once I get to to training or to the gym, I've already instilled in my head that, all right, now I'm here. I need to do this to be better tomorrow, to give me a chance to get to the next level, to give me a chance to get that opportunity back in MLS, to give me a chance to get called back up to the national team. That was a big goal of mine coming in this year. Right away, I said to my coach, I said, I want to be the MVP of this league, and I want to get called back up to the national team. How do we make that happen?
Yeah.
We sat down, we talked, we set out a plan, what we need to do, what I need to do. And it wasn't easy, especially with COVID and everything happening. There was a lot of training, less games, but the whole idea was trying to make the best of what we had. And that too was, 2020 was not easy mentally for any athlete. Some athletes didn't even get to participate in their sport in 2020 at a high level, besides doing their own training. So being able to go into this tournament with a mindset of, all right, we have what we have, 10 games. How do we make the best of those 10 games? And then, coming full circle was, putting in the work. I got a national team call up and I was runner up and MVP candidates. Not to, praise myself, but, to think, I had this goal at the beginning of the year before everything started, to basically fulfilling what I had planned, and then looking back at all the sessions that I did and all the mental thinking, I always go back to, how am I working this hard? How can I possibly work harder tomorrow when I can barely, breathe right now?
Right.
But it's just trying to get over a wall and then another wall and then climb a mountain and get over a bigger mountain. And it's just a crazy roller coaster.
Man, such a roller coaster. And that's why, if it was easy, everyone would do it. It's hard for a reason.
Exactly.
It's hard for a reason. And man, kind of just reflecting back there as you were on the 2020 season, the one thing that kind of really sticks out to me as a key mental concept, I think that a lot of athletes need, people too, of course, like I mentioned before, these concepts, we talk about them in the context of sports, but they apply to life in general, is controlling what you can control. Like, you can't control the pandemic. You can't control the number of games and training sessions that you guys are allocated. All you can control is what you do every day, your habits, your healthy habits. And I just see a lot of younger athletes out there that they get really down on stuff that they can't control. And it's like continually just tell them, like, you can't control this. It's not worth 1 millisecond of your time. All that's worth your time is the things that you can control.
Oh, it's a big one, especially with younger athletes and ones that, we all want things to happen quick, but there's, some things that are out of your control, like I touched on before. It's no secret that I want to play at a higher level, and I know I'm going to get there. I believe I can get there, but there's things that I can't control, and that's placing me in Manchester United.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Right.
So what you have to do as an athlete is show up every day, do your best, try to do your best. You're going to have up and downs, but come to training with that mindset that, okay, today I always go back to today, I'm going to be better than I was yesterday, or at least have that focus of instilling that in yourself that, I need to get better weekly or monthly, daily, whatever it is. Just trying to be better. And that's all that you can control. Come Saturday, come game time, to an extent, you control your performance. Did you prepare the best you could to perform on the game day? Only you know. There's my coach isn't holding my hand all week, 24 hours a day. That's not what it's like.
It's personal accountability.
You're kind of exactly, and that's why you're a professional, and that's why the good ones last long, and the ones that can't hold that accountability somehow fall through the cracks of the game.
Exactly. Why do you think kind of early on in your career, that work ethic maybe wasn't as there? Because I know you mentioned growing up and kind of how your coach at the time now, but your teammate back then was mentioning how like you have all this talent, but he just doesn't, you don't have the muscle, you don't have maybe the work ethic, for example. Why do you think that that wasn't there at that point in time?
I think the good word to use is work ethic. Being it's not easy, going into the professional environment when you've gone through all your youth years of everyone, your coaches, teammates telling you you're the best. Growing up in the Whitecaps Academy, there were four of us that, were steps ahead of the rest. It's just the reality of what it was. And, everyone telling you how good you are and wow, you're about to sign an MLS contract and, you're sitting with the stars.
Yeah.
And then you get into this daily professional level and it's hard. You're now at the bottom of the totem pole and you may not think that, but realistically you are. And I definitely didn't think I was at the bottom there. I think, cause you can always look, it's easier looking back, like hindsight, I wasn't ready mentally to step into the professional game yet. I was always a player, growing and basing everything off my talent. But when you get to the professional level, there's a quote by LeBron James, when he got drafted into the NBA, it was like a reset button for him. Got drafted into the NBA. My high school days are done. What I've accomplished today is over. Starting from scratch, what do I need to do to be the best basketball player in the world? And that's, he saw it early, he understood it. But unfortunately, some of us don't get it as early as we'd like. And that's, the best thing is learning from mistakes, learning from opportunities you couldn't seize. And that's kind of where I am today. I didn't take the best, I didn't take the opportunity I had with the Whitecaps with both hands. I can say that truthfully. Obviously it sucks not to be in MLS, but I'm here in a league that's growing, giving Canadians opportunity. And, I'm one of those who's thriving off that, being able to play every game, it's huge, especially at the age that I'm at. I think a lot of players, in my opinion, try to seek, playing at the highest level, but you can't jump from playing with 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, and then jumping to playing with full professionals. I think there has to be that in between stage where you can grow good habits, from 17 playing with maybe 20, 21, 22-year-olds, getting good habits and trying to be the best at that level. And then it's another jump to the first team or to the highest level. And that's the majority. I think, that's the majority of players. Obviously there's the minority that, jump straight from 16 to the first team and do really well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Alphonso Davies is one of those, but unfortunately we are not all like that.
Yeah.
So you just gotta go with the punches and keep rolling.
And soccer is definitely one of the toughest sports in terms of transitioning from the youth to the pro leagues. Because I guess now in MLS, there's, more and more people being drafted from the NCAA to go to the MLS teams. But when you look at like the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, NHL, like those major sports in North America, there's that period of junior hockey, for example, or college football, college basketball that guys play. But in soccer, like so many times you're in the academy and you're either going to that same professional team or you're getting loaned out to a different professional team. And it just amazes me. Like, I think that the stakes are high enough in MLS to make that transition, just how much of a mental adjustment it is. But like, if you even look over in Europe, like you'll have a kid that's called up from the academy and then he's playing a Champions League match Tuesday night, like against Real Madrid.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's another one, you can be or try to be physically ready to play games. But if you're, you can train as much as you want. You can run on the treadmill, bike, do crazy workouts, but it's not the same as playing games.
Right.
and especially young players, especially in MLS, because guys, that aren't getting minutes aren't really playing anywhere. So, so you get maybe one game every 2 months, every 3 months. It's tough because mentally you think, oh, okay, I'm getting this one chance. You feel like you have to score a hat trick to stay in the team or to play again the weekend after. So it sets that, a bit of pressure mentally that doesn't always work. And then you end up doing nothing in the game. And then you come out of the game and think, wow, what was it that I couldn't perform? Or, I felt like I didn't touch the ball, or, I just think like, I can only talk based on my experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I felt when I was given chances. But thinking back, if I can give any tip to any young player now, is go in and just be you. Like, try to have fun, and don't think about what the coaches are thinking of you. You get that opportunity, just try to thrive off it, doing what you can do.
Man, and I think
instead of trying to go in there, instead of trying to go in there and trying to be messy, it takes time.
Right.
But just go in and just enjoy the opportunity you're getting.
Man, I love that so much. I think that's a great party message for any athlete out there that's looking to up their mental game, is just be in love with the situation, the opportunity, and just go in with the mindset that as long as you try your best and you fully enjoyed it, the experience, like you had fun doing it, no matter what, like the outcome is so secondary. It's not even funny. Just like how
no, it's crazy.
The outcome is.
You can't think what the outcome is, because then you start thinking too much, and it's that effect that you think about the outcome so much that you forget the process to the outcome.
Right. Should be
the process is playing the game.
Yeah,
exactly.
It should be the other way around, where the outcome that you're looking for is the process, and how refined the process is, and then any like extra outcome you get is like cherry on top. Like, that's whatever, but love what you do and do it to the best of your ability.
Exactly. And then the best quote, man, trust the process. You got to trust it.
There you go. A little 76ers quote there. But listen, man.
There you go.
I had a lot of fun talking to you, Marco. I think a lot of insight, not only for myself, that I can take away and apply to my life, but I think a lot of people that listen to this will get a lot of really, really valuable insights when it comes to either sports, work, personal life, whatever it is. I appreciate you, man, coming on. This is a lot of fun.
No, it was good, man. I appreciate you inviting me. It's always nice to chat with someone that you don't know, or just someone different. And to me, I love talking, I love conversating, and it's a great pleasure of mine. And hopefully some people can take something away from this, which is the ultimate goal of doing this. And hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Awesome, man. I look forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you very much.